This is lecture 13, what was Hitler's final solution. We'll talk about the beginnings of Jewish persecution, then the final solution, and then how that evolved into the labor and death camps. So the first thing that happened in 1935 was the Nuremberg laws, and these were laws right here, and you can actually see Nazi children learning the laws about who was Jewish and who was not. And it was government policy that they could not hold office, and they actually deprived them of their rights as German citizens. And then they had to wear that bright yellow star on their clothing. So the Nuremberg laws were kind of the first stage of this. Then in 1938, there was the Night of Broken Glass at Kristallnacht, which was in a retaliation for a Polish guy assassinating the German ambassador in Paris. So Jews start to emigrate after Kristallnacht, but because of the Great Depression, nobody else wants any. France will only take 25,000, Britain takes 80,000, the entire continent of Latin America takes 40,000, the U.S. takes 100,000, including Albert Einstein. But because these countries were afraid of their own anti-Semitism, they're limiting Jewish immigration. So Hitler doesn't want them in his country, and he's actually expanding into other countries, especially after 1939, where you can see here this is the invasion of Poland in 1939. So he makes them live in their own separate areas, and he calls these places ghettos. Here's a picture of people starving to death in a ghetto. So these were segregated Jewish areas, and they were cut off from all supplies. And he actually figured it out, the Germans and Hitler, how much calories you could kill somebody on. So they were only bringing enough about 500 calories per person. The average American eats between 2,000 and 3,000. So the Jewish community in these ghettos were very resistant, and they actually formed resistant groups to smuggling food and other supplies. They had concerts and plays, even had secret schools, but there just wasn't enough food. So the Nazis continued to expand, and by 1942 they're already into Russia. And Hitler thinks that he's got to purify the entire Lebensraum that he's looking for, that living space. Here's actually a clearer picture of the Nuremberg laws about who is pure and who is not. And he's trying to kill all the gypsies, all the Jews, all the Poles, all the Russians, all the mentally and physically disabled and the incurably ill. So he sends groups of people, and this is called the Einsatzgruppen, the special forces, and they were sent to the east to kill. They were killing squads. And they would take them to isolated spots, and they would take these Jews and they would kill them and they would dump them in these pits. You can see a picture of that here. And if you weren't captured by these Einsatzgruppen, you would be brought back to like a slave camp or a concentration camp. So one of the main main Nazi leaders, I think his name was Goebbels at the time. Oh, it was Himmler. I'm sorry, Himmler visited this, and he actually got some blood on him, and he got kind of sick. And when he was visiting the Einsatzgruppen, they were getting more and more ill from doing this work where they basically killed people all day. So they have a big meeting called the Wannsee Conference. And it's too difficult on the Einsatzgruppen. They actually made a movie recently about the Wannsee Conference with Kenneth Branagh and Stanley Tucci. And this is the final solution. They got to come up with a way to finally figure out what to do with all the Jews and all the lands of Germany and all the lands they've conquered to the east. So they come up with genocide, the systematic killing of entire people. And they're going to kill them using these concentration camps. And here's a picture of the most famous in the world. This is Auschwitz. So Auschwitz was designed to kill about 60,000 people a day. And the train would pull up, and they would separate you into two lines, and then they would take you into a shower, and everybody thought they were going to be showering, but in reality the shower head spit out cyanide gas, or a type of cyanide gas called Zyklon B, and they were killed. And then the bodies were later burned in a crematorium. Now, there were some survivors. About 6 million were killed, but about less than 4 million survived the horrors of the Holocaust. And you can see a picture of one here, and he's marked for life with that tattoo right there. And some people tried to help these Jews escape, but it was very, very difficult. So that is the story of Hitler's final solution.